everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the world of interactive PDFs. In this video, I'll show you how to create features like interactive dropdown, like this one, a list with checkboxes, interactive tabs like this one, numbering, and dynamic drop-down menu using InDesign, and even adding JavaScript function to a button in Acrobat. Now, before we jump in, it's important to note that PDFs with hidden content and interactive buttons might not be fully accessible to everyone, but we'll discuss some considerations later in the video. But for now, let's focus on creating a dynamic and engaging experience. So let's get started. So I usually start in Figma or Illustrator to kind of start designing a theme or an overall visual design for any type of learning design. And here I've kind of added a few inspirations, designs that I like to feel inspired and kind of thinking, oh, that's interesting. For example, like here, I like the font, although they're not very readable. I like the color palette going on here. I like the bold text here as well, and the color combination. I like these kind of abstract patterns here. I like this layout. Yes, and this is kind of interesting, although I don't think it's gonna work, but I'm just gonna leave it there. This one, I like how clean the layout here, very clear text, color palette, and everything. So I usually grab a few inspirations like this from other websites, and I use this design inspiration to create some swatches. So I create a rectangle here, and I'm pressing I in my keyboard to select this color. And just like that, I have this color palette and just playing around with this. And this is kind of a time where I'm just playing, making mistakes, and just be free. For example, here, I'm trying out this gradient look, and I did not like it, and it didn't work, even though I would play around with it. So I decided to create this new color palette that is a bit more fresh, a bit more fun, slightly playful, but it's not too much. I think for company or corporation, it can be toned down a little bit, but for the purpose of this video and creating this interactive PDF, I think it's pretty good. So I'm planning the PDF cover here. I'm playing around with the layout. I use a few abstract elements like this, kind of placing it in the corners, giving a bit of an accent. And I want to keep the background neutral, but I want to keep the interactive PDF sign stands out a bit more here. I want to include an illustration, but not to stand out or more prominent than the text. And at this stage, I'm just keeping the button and the text neutral here. So once it's ready, I'll be exporting these graphic elements into SVG because they are vectors, and we'll start designing in InDesign. So once I have the design prepared in Figma, I am now ready to develop this in InDesign. As you can see, I have already inserted all the assets here. Majority of them are SVG except for the emoji converted to PNG. And here I have this texture on the background. We'll just make this 20% opacity. And you also see this kind of blob on the background, just kind of give it a bit of texture. Now we're just kind of putting together all the assets that we've created in Figma. So I'm just going to drag that over here and over here, and just kind of convert this text into PNG just to make it easy. You don't have to create a curved text anymore. Just gonna move this abstract here, title, and this last element. I'm just speeding up on this part as I'm adjusting element's position, adding a title, changing the paragraph settings, and adding a button for the cover page. To create the button, I use a text function. Start with typing in the label and choose your font, and then add the field color. Here I'm choosing green, and then expand the text frame a little bit so it kind of shapes like a button. I'm gonna go here and choose Align Center. I'm just gonna zoom in on the button a little bit, and as you can see how we have a problem with the margins, how the top is bigger than the bottom, so we're gonna fix that. So just select the button, right click on it, select Text Frame Options, and you're gonna go to the baseline options, and you're gonna see offset here and choose Cap Height. As you can see now, the margins are more well balanced, so click OK. So I'm just gonna style the button a little bit. I'm gonna go to Object menu here, and I'm gonna go to Corner Options, and I'm gonna make this rounded with, I'm gonna put 100 here. So I just want to make it like a rounded button like this. So I think that looks pretty good, but I'm still kind of happy if I could add maybe a little bit of effect because there's so many elements on this page. So I just want to make the button stand out a bit more. So I'm going to make this bold and make it slightly bigger. Just checking if the rounded corner is still fine. And so I'm just going to go under appearance here just to add a bit of effect. So under appearance, and find the effects icon, and I'm going to add drop shadow, and I just want to add a touch of drop shadow, not too heavy, just to kind of make it look like it's floating above other elements. I'm going to adjust the size here, turn down the opacity even more, and just going to change the color to this kind of a bit bluish black color, and I think I'm happy with that. The next step, I'll be moving the texture background to the master slide, or what we call here in InDesign as parent, so we don't have to repeat the graphics to all the other pages. So I'm going to select the background images, copy them, and I'm going to go to the pages here, and I'm going to go to a parent and click on that. I'm going to paste that in place, and I'm just going to adjust position a little bit, and as you can see immediately the background images to all the other pages are updated. So once the button is ready, the next step is to make it work. So how do you do that? So go ahead and click the button that you're working on, and you're going to go to the buttons and form here on the side, and you want to select button, name the button correctly, and keep the event on release or tab. And what you want to do is you want to add go to next page. So you want to choose this if your destination page is just the next one after this page. But let's say your destination page is not on the next slide, so you want to choose this one, and some more details will appear, and you can choose different page in the same document. So to be able to refill this list, you need to create what's called bookmarks. And how do you create bookmarks? So for example, I'm gonna get the button to jump to the third page. So I need to go to that page and I'm gonna select bookmarks here. I'm gonna select plus button and I'm just gonna write page 3. And you do that for every page inside your document. So I'm just gonna delete this here because we already bookmarked this page. So once you bookmark every pages inside the document, it will appear in the destination list here. So here I'm going to choose page 3 and that should take you to page 3. Another thing you should pay attention to on the buttons in InDesign that you should write down the description. So the description here works as a tooltip, which is great for accessibility. Now I want to pay attention to this page number here, because there is a way to automatically add in the page number here instead just manually typing in the page number. So type in the text page here and leave your cursor there, and here on the menu I go to type, insert special character, markers, and choose current page number. So click on that, and here I just type off and I put the cursor there, and I go back to menu type and I go to text variables, insert variable, and I choose last page number. So there you go. To create an interactive drop-down like this, you need 3 main elements. So here I'm selecting 3 of them. If I go to layers here, you're going to see that 3 elements selected: a hide tab, show tab, and a content. So we have content here, a hide tab. If I move this here, you're going to see at the bottom there is a show tab or show button. So the function of these buttons, the show tab is to show the content and the hide tab is to hide the content. To create a button like this, prepare a graphic like this, so you can use the text function to create this button. And you go to buttons and form, select type button, and you want to choose the action show or hide buttons and forms. Please note that this interaction is not accessible because there are hidden contents and they're not readable by screen readers. So once the buttons are ready, you want to place them in the correct order in the layers. And let's see how we set it up in the buttons and form settings. So the first thing you want to do is select your content button and tick hidden until triggered. And you don't need to do or to add any actions for this button. Second, go to your show button and you want to add the show hide buttons and forms and leave this unticked. So here you have 3 elements of visibility. First one is show, hide, and ignore. So for the show button or show tab, there are a few things that we want to focus on. We want this button, when a learner click on this button, you want to show content number 1, which is this one. So you go ahead and change this icon until it shows this kind of eye icon. And you also want to hide the show tab. So here I just change this visibility to hidden. And the last one, I want to display the hide tab, which is the button here on top. So on the hide button, you want to make sure that hidden until triggered is tick, and you add an action here to show the tab here when the learner click on this button, hide this content, and hide this hide button. Once you do that, you can duplicate the elements and make sure that you have set up the visibility correctly for each interaction. So let's have a look at how this interaction looks like. So to create this preview, I go to buttons here and I select this preview spread, and here you'll be able to have a quick preview on how the interaction would look like. So you have a bit of a hover effect as well, and the drop-down menu works seamlessly. On this page, we'll be creating a list of checkboxes, so I've already prepared the design here. Essentially, it's a series of questions to help you decide if you need a meeting or not. And if you answer yes to any of the questions, you probably need a meeting. So what I've done here with the checkbox, I added a square shape as a background using the rectangle tool. To zoom in here a little bit, as you can see that inside it there is another rectangle, which is the interactive checkbox itself. So to create this checkbox, I use the rectangle tool, and to create the square shape, I just hold shift on my keyboard and just drag that out. So you have this kind of square shape, and you want to select that shape, go to buttons and form, and under the type select checkbox, and immediately you see there is normal on appearance and normal off appearance, which is appearance for check and for unchecked. So you don't need to do anything else, it just automatically works for you. This is an interactive checkbox, so you don't need to add any actions. So you can also change the color on it, on the tick icon and things like that. So you want to do that to all the list, and once you do that, you want to kind of preview the PDF, but unfortunately the checkbox doesn't really work on this preview. So you need to export this PDF and open it in Adobe Acrobat, and it definitely works there. To create these interactive tabs, you have to create each page for each tab content. So you will have multiple pages for just this section here, depending on how many tabs you have. Here I have 5 pages, and all of them have been bookmarked properly. So here from page 5 to page 9. First thing first, you want to set up the content on each page correctly. Just have the text there and making sure all the other pages are set up. Then you want to create a button like this. Use text frame, type in your button label, and go to buttons and form, name your button. So for the button that is active on that page, you don't need to do or to add any actions. You can leave it like that. I kind of create these two look. Let me just click W here on the keyboard, removing the line so you can see better. So I kind of have these two different button labeling looks. The active stage, which is using a darker or black color tag, and the other buttons using this kind of light gray to let the learners know that there are other types available. I also added this kind of arrow icon just to emphasize a little bit that yes, you are on the correct content. Another thing I add is the rollover effect, or what we call hover effect. So you want to select the button here, and under appearance you see a rollover state here. To make edits, you need to double click on the button, and you can change the font, or in this case I'm adding fill color. So you can do the same to all the other buttons as well. So for all the other buttons, you want to set up a go to destination. So you go under action here and select go to destination, and you want to choose the page accordingly. So you want to do that to every page. Make sure that you set up the page destination correctly. Creating the interactive numbering is technically the same principle as the interactive tabs. So you have to prepare all the pages that you want to include for each number. And here I have 5 pages, and I also want to set it up in the bookmarks. So here I have page 10 until page 14. And for the active state, I'm kind of setting up the number with this lime green color for the fill and dark or black color text. And for the other buttons, I'm using this black color for the fill and white for the text. So for the active state, if we go to here, buttons and form, you don't need to do any actions if this button links to this page. And for the other buttons, you need to set up actions and go to destinations, and you want to choose that page accordingly. And you can also add that rollover effect on the buttons. Then continue applying those setup to all the other buttons, and there you have it. So to create the label graphic interaction, similar to the interactive dropdown, we have this kind of overlapping elements here for the labels. So we have the hide label button and the show label button. And in this case, I have 2 content that I want to show. And to prepare this content, I kind of group this together so it contains a rectangle and a text. And I make this a button. And you don't need to add any actions here, you just have to tick hidden until triggered. Then the next step you want to do is selecting the show label icon, and you want to add an action here to show the content. So add action, show hide buttons and form, and here you want to hide this icon. And you want to show the hide icon, which is the purple one. And you want to also show this meeting feedback content. And for the purple icon, which is the hide icon, you want to open the open icon, which is the green color one. And you want to hide this icon. And you want to hide the meeting feedback content. And you want to ignore the rest of the elements or the rest of the buttons on this page. So do that to the other icon, and you have interactive label graphic. For the last page of this interactive PDF, I kind of want to add a bit of a conclusion, just kind of a few points to remember. And I do want to add this interactive button to automatically add this PDF in an email draft. So to do that, I'm creating this button in InDesign. So just set up a rollover effect and a normal effect. And what I want to do is, once this interactive PDF is completed, export in the PDF, and we will add JavaScript inside Adobe Acrobat. So to add the attach an email function, you have to open the PDF in the Adobe Acrobat. So you might actually want to do this as a last step once your interactive PDF is completed. So once you open in Adobe Acrobat and you have the attach an email button, you want to go to all tools and go to prepare a form. Immediately you're gonna see attach an email button becomes this kind of black outline text box. You want to right click, go to properties, and you want to go to the actions tab, mouse up and run a JavaScript and click add. So you want to add this JavaScript code into the text box here. So I'm just pasting it here, and the first line is the subject line of the email, and you can edit it here, and the message in the body. So I'm just gonna click OK, close that, and we're gonna preview it. So immediately you have this pop-up settings. So if you're on Mac, I'm gonna try with Microsoft Outlook. Immediately I have this pop-up and the PDF attached to my email. And there you go. So now we're gonna be setting up the drop-down menu for this interactive PDF. And as you can see, if you go to Pages, the drop-down menu is located on a parent, or what we probably know as master. So if you set up the menu here, it will appear automatically on the rest of the pages. You can also kind of set up the first page to ignore the master slide, and let me show you how to do that. So if you only want to apply the A parent slide to the rest of the pages, or accept the first slide, or you just want to apply it to a specific page, what you want to do is you want to select those pages and go to the icon here, and you want to go to apply parent to pages. As you can see here, apply parent A parent to pages 2 to 16, and you want to click OK. I'm just going to click cancel here for now. And for the first slide, as you can see, as I hover here, it says not apply. So if you don't want to apply the A parent, you want to select that page, go back here, apply parent pages, and you want to choose none instead of A parent, and you want to click OK. So this will allow the first slide free of the A parent settings. So let's go back to the master slide and let's take a look at how do we set this up. So first thing first, you want to make sure that you have placed all the button elements on the layer above the document elements. What I mean by that is, if I go to pages here, as you can see that these elements on a document page, they are highlighted in blue, and if I go to layers here, they are located on layer number 1. And and you can see the buttons that have been set up on master slide appears with red line, and that is located on layer number 2. So this making sure that the menu will appear on top of the content of the document page. So let's go back to the parent page. The way I set up this drop-down menu is by using multiple buttons. So on the background, I have a rectangle, a big white rectangle that works as a background, but in the same time it is also a button. This allows me to hide this item until triggered. And for each button, I have created this kind of normal effect where there is no fill. So if I just double click on this, you can see there is no fill, there's no stroke. Only when it roller over, when it's hover over, that you're gonna see this black outline and there is a white film. So that's the style that I chose to do for this one, and you want to do that to all of them. So when we look at the button here, you want to make sure that hidden until trigger is ticked, and you want to set up 2 actions. The first one, when learner click on this button, you want to hide this close button, and you want to bring back the menu button. So I will just go back here. So you want to open the menu button, you want to show the open menu button, you want to hide the close menu button, you also want to hide the rectangle on the background, and you want to hide the entire menu, but you want to ignore these navigational arrows. So you want to do that to all of the buttons here. And the next trigger you want to do for each button is to go to a specific page. So you want to add another action here, go to destination and choose the page accordingly, and make sure each page has been bookmarked properly. So this menu button only have one action task, which is to hide the menu icon itself and to reveal all this content and to refill this close icon as well. So you want to make sure this icon is placed on top of the menu button, and you want to tick hidden until triggered. And you want to add some actions on this close icon, which is to reveal the open menu button, to hide the close icon, and to close all the other menu. And you still want to ignore the back and next button. So for the next and back button, you want to set it as previous page for the back arrow icon, and you want to set it as next page for the right arrow icon. So just to note, this kind of setup of creating buttons in a parent page is not accessible because the screen reader cannot read what's inside the parent page. So the last thing you want to do once you completed your interactive PDF is to export it into interactive PDF. To do that, I'm going to go to the File menu here, and I'm going to go Export, and I'm going to leave this as Adobe PDF Interactive, and I'm just going to save it here. And there's this pop-up setting that appears, so I want to choose all the pages, and I want the view to fit height That means the height of the PDF will fit any screen size you open it on. And the layout, I want it to be single page. And because this is not an accessible interactive PDF, so you don't have to worry about this create tag PDF or use structure for tab order. So I'm just going to untick those. And you want to embed page thumbnails, include hidden spreads. And you just want to quickly go here in advanced, and you want to set up the display title as a document title and just a language as English. And that's it. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Follow me for all things visual design and e-learning.